Well, we're on live right now and everything seems to be working. This is Clear Blue Radiance, and I'm the host of this podcast done every Thursday at 1 p.m. Mountain Time. My name is Brother Francis E. Revels-Bey. Well, I've been a spiritual counselor since the mid 1970s, and I have certainly enjoyed myself being able to present content in different ways to people. And one of the things is I'm always feeling like whatever is coming into my soul, into my spirit, is something that you also have experienced. And so this is an opportunity to really start to share with so many of you. One of the things I want to be able to express is that this is a great day today. Today is May 18th, 2023. And whenever we come on here, any of us, myself, Michelle, who usually pops on Fridays, or Johanna Rada comes in. She's an astrologer, and she comes in on Sundays. Well, we just want to let you know that all you have to do to subscribe is click the subscribe button, press the notification bell so you know when we are coming on live. All right, that's very, very important. I'll say that again. Press the subscribe button and the notification bell if you want to know when any one of us are going live or when something live is happening here on YouTube's Resonant Essentials channel. So, if you like what we're saying here during a live broadcast, click like. If you also review or replay it, click like. Tell your friends about it. Tell your friends, just give them the link here and let them go check it out for themselves. So, my topic for today is you can stop wishing, right? You can stop wishing you were someone else. Your heart is more important than your brain. Then your brain, when your dream becomes your vision. All of us dream all the time, right? We're always seeing, hearing about dreams, reading about dreams, trying to figure out what the symbols are in our dreams. They're universal dream symbols, and then there's some that are just pertinent to ourselves on a personal level. Well, I'm a guidance spiritual counselor, and I like to guide people such as yourself onto your journey where you begin to have greater clarity in your own life, and so that you can discover or redefine your purpose in your life. You know, our purpose changes all the time. That's right. Every time we are evolving, every time we're growing, we're maturing spiritually, metaphysically, getting back to who we truly are, our purpose changes. Now, why would that happen? Well, everything grows. Everything is constantly evolving. So, what I want you to realize is this topic speaks to everyone in a family, single parents, households that have two parents, grandparents, children, no children. But, there's so much that has been going on over the past 10 years that's extremely, extremely stressful to the youth, where they're afraid to go to school. Why? Not only are they worrying about a bully, that's the boys and girls worrying about someone picking on them, now they got to worry about a gunman. And sometimes it's a fellow student, and sometimes it's somebody just riding around in the neighborhood that feels like shooting up someplace, someone who's struggling with mental illness. And so when I look at this topic, how did I come about this topic? Well, earlier this week, I was listening to a neighbor who was chatting with me about their sibling and how inadequate that the neighbor felt growing up with her, who was what? That particular sibling was older, always getting all the attention, right, from their parents or the grandparents, from friends, from relatives. And the woman who was talking to me was saying that she felt inadequate because she didn't love herself. She didn't think that she had any value or that no one was really interested in her. And this is sad, and I could attest to that because I've had my experiences in that way as well. I've had my experiences where, having an older sibling and everybody, except for my mom, everybody else was always around them, always lifting them up. My brother could tell a joke just like that. I think he has a moon in Gemini, or his rising sign is Gemini. Maybe his moon is in Gemini. And so he can think fast. Boom, he could pop out something to make you laugh. I know I would laugh at some of his jokes, especially when it came to commercials on TV. Why? Because he memorized the commercials. I didn't realize he memorized those commercials. Then when it was time for what he thought was the punchline, he turned the volume off and say what he wanted to say, and we all start laughing. Well, but anyway, sometimes when you have a sibling doing that all the time and you're unable to do that, you're going to feel a little inadequate. If you got someone who's always friends that are always taking the spotlight and you don't get a chance to talk, you're going to feel inadequate. And then you're going to have a lot of stress that falls upon you. And then you have these feelings and thoughts of not being good enough, not being smart enough. Then you fall into periods of depression, also procrastination, worry, anxiety, and fear. And a lot of us have gone through that. I don't think anybody has had a perfect childhood. We know that doesn't exist. Not everybody, because I was just speaking to someone earlier, and they were mentioning how their teenage daughter hangs out with some friends who are very, their parents are kind of well off. And sometimes when children are doing that, seeking to hang out with somebody who's got money, more money than their parents have, so they always think that, like my mother used to say, the grass is greener on the other side, but it really isn't, because you don't know what they go through. Yeah, they might have parents that are well off making some good money and they could take various trips around the world and go to foreign countries, you name it, and go to resorts all the time. But we don't know what else goes on in the household. We don't know the level of mental illness that might be present in the household. We don't know if children are dealing with parents who are addicted to drugs and alcohol. We don't know any of those things. So it's very, very important that we pick ourselves back up again. And this is throughout our life, whether we're a senior now or we're in our 50s, 60s, 40s, 30s, 20s, you name it. You got to find a way somehow to pick yourself back up again. And you learn at some point that you have to forge ahead. But that doesn't mean we should move forward without discovering our own truth. So you can move forward with falsehood. You can move forward being dishonest. You can move forward not having any integrity. You can move forward just casting out lies all the time. And also pretending to be happy. We know a lot of people wear a mask on their face every day and they pretend to be happy. But by themselves, they aren't. So sometimes you can't move forward, or you shouldn't jump to move forward too quickly until you can discover your own self-worth. What's your value to yourself? How's your self-esteem? These are things that we have to work on. And we might say, oh, that's for the young ones. No, it's for the old ones too. Because you have to remember, many of us grow up under different types of households. Many of us didn't have any parents. Many were adopted. Many had one parent. Many had two parents. And again, maybe one wasn't doing so well emotionally and mentally. Some children grew up in abusive households. Not only were the parents fighting, but they were beating up their children. It's a lot of stuff. So I hope today's topic, some part of this topic, will touch you in some way. And if the rest doesn't, just leave it where it is. But we know self-worth, self-love, self-esteem, all these are gems. These are the nuggets. These are the emotional wellness pills we need to take. We need to find a way to love ourselves more, to find value in our life and in ourselves, and to raise our self esteem. We must love ourselves more, and without self love being invested in ourselves, then we begin to experience failure. If we don't invest self love, we don't love ourselves every day, every moment of the day, we're going to find ourselves sliding into a sinkhole of failure. So we really have to start looking out. But that looking out requires that we look within. Some of us grow up berating ourselves, putting ourselves down. Maybe we heard a lot of things that were just constant negatives. In with a child hears constant negatives all the time, expletives lodged in their direction all the time. They begin to think, well, they deserve that. I remember living on Long Island long ago, in my 20s, late 20s, early 30s, and I was renting part of a person's house out. And the guy that ran the house, he cursed all the time. That's how he grew up. He grew up cursing all the time. Then he was a tractor trailer driver, cursing all the time. Well, he had some children, and one of his sons, by a different woman, he would call him every kind of negative thing he could think of. Basically, he would say, "You are dumb MF. You're always stupid." I mean, anything that was demeaning his son. And his son was like 5, 6, 7, 8 years of age, hearing this all the time. And his father just couldn't see how much he was reframing his son's mind the way the son would begin to believe that's where he was, and that's all he heard. From the time he could walk, from the time he could speak, he was hearing that all the time. And then when he finally wound up running with the wrong gang at about 15, 16 years of age, and then going into a little imprisonment at 18 and 19 years of age. And the father would go visit him, but he was always cursing at him. He didn't believe he would be anything. So the father sat down and spoke to me and said, "Hey, I don't understand why my son is this way. What do you think?" I said, his initials were WH. He loved to be called WH. It would sound like double H. I would say, "Look, as long as I've been in your home, and I've been here a couple of years, you are forever cursing your son out." He said, "No, I don't. I'm trying to toughen him up." I said, "Well, you can't toughen someone up if you're constantly breaking them down. And they are a family member, no less. And they are your son. And he's junior. And you're senior. So you're telling him every day he's a nobody." Well, guess what? He's probably been hearing that since he was 4 or 5 years of age. And now he's 19. So 15, 20 years later, here he is still in prison. And guess what? You taught him to believe that he was not competent. You taught him that he was inadequate. You taught him that he was not smart enough to change his behavior. And you couldn't support him. Because when you put him with other people, you'd be mad. You gave him to me and wanted me to teach him how to play the guitar. You bought him a guitar, and I would teach him a guitar, how to play for himself. But what I would hear when he was practicing by himself, you hear him hit a bad note, and you would curse him out. "Hey, greetings there, Jackie." I would tell the father, you were cursing your son out in front of his friends, in front of relatives. You were letting him know that no matter what he did, He could not accomplish anything, and he deserved those names that you were calling him. And once the father heard this talk from other men that he knew, then he started thinking. So when the son spent some 5 years behind bars in a upstate New York prison, came out, all he could do was think negative things. And the father did not know how to help resurrect his son. He didn't know how to do it. Why? Because he began to realize that he had a lot of stains, a lot of broken parts in himself, and that he wasn't taking the steps to make the change. Oh, he would develop men's groups and things like that and clubs, because he thought that was the hippest thing to do. However, he really began to change when he wanted to bring a little league team back in Hempstead, Long Island, New York. When he started doing that, then he realized he had to change. Some of my friends from high school were the umpires. They were the coaches. They were the trainers because they played sports. And then he began to change. Now, did that somehow help his son? Well, it's kind of difficult because the son would see the dad catering to all these younger kids and hugging them and shaking their hand. But he realized there wasn't quite a connection. Hey, Linda, there wasn't good afternoon. There wasn't quite a connection between he and his son. But eventually, before the father passed away in his 50s, he finally changed. He finally realized, hey, his son forgave him. And then he had the further change. So often when people live in a household where it's very stressful with parents, one or two parents, and neither one of the parents can really help the child, then that child grows up not feeling good about themselves, not feeling smart enough, falling into patterns where they procrastinate, doing things for themselves, or show up late to work, show up slovenly, meaning not, they got the money to spruce themselves up, but they don't feel like doing it. So it is important that we do what? We pick ourselves up, just like I said earlier, pick ourselves up. Sometimes we had to do it on our own. We had to find older people, or maybe older cousins that got it, and hang out with them. The key is loving ourselves more. Without self-love being invested in ourselves, we can't really turn anything around. So we have to remember that it is all right to love ourselves unconditionally. That means love yourself without judgment. There are some people who have made out to be well in life. I met a guy, I think it was last Friday. I went out with my sister friend and we went out to a place called Salt Yard. And I didn't know the Salt Yard was a big gaming house for people of all ages. Families would go in there and hang out, but they got to take the children home by 8:30 because liquor is being served, heavier liquor. And I met two guys, wonderful guys. They are good friends to each other. And one of the two guys does roofing, but he told me how his life was like. He and his parents came from Mexico. They had relatives here. Came on a visa, loved it, went back and got everything together, and later became citizens. So by the time they became citizens, he had this outlook on life where he could make it. And he was doing everything from fixing bicycles, polishing bicycles, fixing them up, putting new chains on them, new seats on them, painting them, to he graduated from that to wasn't many lawns for him to cut, but he was trimming hedges, whatever he could trim. Then he was helping hauling garbage out of garages. And all this while he was 16. He would get together with a relative, and that's what they did. Then he found out he had a knack for fishing, and he was doing that. He had a knack for fixing washing machines at age 16 and started doing that, repairing people's washing machines. Here he is a roofer today. He runs a little store somewhere here in Albuquerque where he can sell things. He's always doing something. But what is his dream? To live a better version of himself than he is in the present moment. So the only person you need to convince of your successes and new goals you strive to achieve is yourself. And this doesn't matter what age we are. This is what we have to do on a daily basis. We have to love ourselves more. As my mother Grace would say often, I'm going to read exact quote from her. She says, "Son, you are your best bet. Do not count yourself out, but count yourself in by clearing your heart and mind. Do not listen to the naysayers and disbelievers. Think for yourself, have faith, and trust that you can make it in life. You must have patience and be self confident and remain focused on your goals. You see, your mind will get cluttered and your feelings dissipated, and you will feel tired. You'll feel exhausted. You feel like I can't go another step. I can't go another day. People will judge you and criticize you. That happens in life all the time. Sometimes you're minding on your own business, someone comes around picking on you. All that really matters is what you feel about yourself. I want to repeat that again. All that really matters to you is what you feel about yourself. Let your heart lead the way to your internal paradise. We all have a paradise. We can let the world create a paradise, or we can create one for ourselves. And here's something else you want to be able to do. Because as you envision a better version of yourself, you'll see a new reality around you because it's coming from within. You do not have to wish you were someone else. Like a part of my title says, don't let yourself start wishing to be someone else. Just know yourself and what's in your heart, and you will be able to achieve because you realize your heart is greater than your brain. You can affirm a new life. You can meditate on and about a new vision for yourself. You can live that new life. In other words, we are creators. We can create a life we want. I can sit here and say, I just want peace all day long. I only want peace in my apartment building, peace when I go collect my mail, peace when I go for a walk. And if I believe that I'm going to have it, it's more than believing. I put my emotions into it. And when I step outside, I don't see anybody in the hallway. I don't see anybody outside the building. Those who have balconies and patios might be enjoying them. Hey, I'm up on the third floor. I don't care. I'm at peace with myself. And that's important. You see, the late Reverend Ike even said it. This is what he said. Because I believe you can no longer believe. And because it's time to remind yourself that you know. See, the Piscean age, he didn't say that part, that's me. The Piscean age is I believe. We're out of that era now, according to many astrologers. We start coming in to the age of Aquarius around 1962, and here we now what, 41 years later, we're out of the other half of the cusp between Pisces and Aquarius, and now we're in the sign of Aquarius. So in the sign of Aquarius key words is I know. But how would you know? You either know by learning, studying, or you begin to remember. So here's what the late Reverend Ike would teach: you can be, do, and have, but first you must decide what to be, do, and have. I'm going to repeat that again. He taught you can be what you want to be, do what you want to do, and have what you want to have. But in order to have all three of those as an experience linked together, you must first decide in what do you want to be, what do you want to do, and what do you want to have. You have to be very clear about it. You can't vacillate. You can't be a fence sitter. You have to know what it is that you truly desire. And then when you do, the universe will start working on your behalf. Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith, the founder of the Agape Spiritual Community University and Church, based on the teachings of Ernest Holmes of the Science of Mind, he says that you have to have a consciousness within you that can entertain these things. You have to know that you can't just believe in something, you've got to feel it. Now, Reverend Ike said it the same way. He said it more like in a slang term. You can't use with the stuff I use. That's how he would say to his congregation, because he was in an area where people were struggling. So you want to like pump yourself up. You want to make yourself feel better about yourself and your ideas and your thoughts and your dreams and your visions. You have to start saying to yourself that you are an achiever, a high achiever. But guess what? You don't have to be so perfect at it. You just have to be consistently working toward the goal. And this is what I say: meditate daily and sit in the silent chamber within you. Meditate daily and sit in the silent chamber within you. In that silent chamber inside yourself is a whole new world to be experienced. In fact, worlds, infinite realms of consciousness and awareness and remembrances to be experienced. And when you meditate daily, your main objective is to go within. Meditation is the act of finding your center of being. And I always say, being what? And also, I always say, I'm being peaceful, I'm about harmony, and I'm about happiness. So I'm looking to live in peace, harmony, and happiness. And I get to the point where I can feel it spread throughout my body: peace, harmony, and happiness. Because when you put that energy out into your environment, you begin to attract. The universe reflects what you give it, it feeds you what you give it. So, yes, Reverend Ike is correct. Dr. Michael Beckwith is correct. Neville Goddard said, think from the end. Look at the end result and bring that into the present moment. So we can think from the end, we can and feel the joy, the absolute joy that we have from the end. Then you become like this logic and sets mathematician. Therefore, I'm happy. How did I become happy? I had to think a certain way. I had to be a certain way. I had to act a certain way. I had to have confidence. I had to realize I'm overflowing with positive self-esteem. I have good value about myself. I treat myself better. I love myself better. But I love myself unconditionally. That's so important. We have to go inside, meditate, deal with the silent chamber, and listen for the what? The still small voice inside ourselves. As we listen to the still small voice inside ourselves, then we begin to move forward. Then we start to expect nothing but the best, nothing but goodness, nothing but better health, nothing but happiness, nothing but joy, nothing but an expanded world that's infinite, and everything that we desire is already there. We just have to meet it. Meet it and embrace it and know that we are deserving of it. Well, that's my message for today. I hope you liked it. Again, if you're not a subscriber here, just click on subscribe so that you get notifications. Click the bell so you get personal notifications that will come to you. Thanks for your time. And oh, by the way, if you're here in Albuquerque, in the city of Albuquerque, on the northeast side, I think they call it the Northeast Heights, you can come to Resonant Essentials. It's normally open Tuesdays through Saturdays, 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. or 6 p.m., depending on what practitioner is in working. We have different practitioners that are here every day from Tuesday through Saturday. We also have practitioners who work remotely online with you. We have preferred business partners. I'm one of them, and I teach through here every Saturday. I'm here from 11:30 to 12:30 p.m. for a $10 fee. You can take my Creative Pathwork meditation series, and it's all about learning how to get in touch with the higher self, learning how to receive higher consciousness streaming through your higher self, streaming from all the millions and trillions of cells in your body. It's all about you and how you can have a better version of yourself. Also, this Sunday, usually our psychic fairs, and healing arts fairs are every second Sunday from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. But last Sunday was Mother's Day, so it was moved to this Sunday, May 21st. Admission is free, 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. We have a guest reader. She's a wonderful woman. Her name is Elizabeth Prosopio. She does what is called soul face drawings, soul face portraits. And man, they are knockout. I had mine done, I think, in 2019, and I enjoyed it. I still have it hanging up in my bedroom, and it speaks volumes to me. Well, she'll be there this Sunday, by usually by appointment, and she's doing these soul face portraits. $90 for 90 minutes is well worth the time. She's giving you a reading at the same time, and she'll be doing some readings as well. She has created a woman's tarot deck that's out of this world, and she did it last year and got it all done. Anyway, I'll be one of the readers in there, and I'll be doing my Angel of Grace readings. I'll be doing my Celestial I Am Presence drawings. I use colored pencils, and person gets a reading. You step into that one if you want. It's $30 for 30 minutes. Just walk in. We're there from 12 to 5. We'll have many other healers and practitioners, people doing tarot cards, oracle cards, straight out psychic readings, and so forth and so on. So you want to come down. If you're in Albuquerque, New Mexico, stop by Resident Essentials. I almost forgot. Stop by Resident Essentials at 3107 Eubank Boulevard Northeast, Suite number 34. The building is black, has a black trim and a green outside. It's right past the Nashville Chicken Spicy Chicken Place. Has a parking lot, plenty of parking. 3107 Eubank Boulevard Northeast. Suite 34 is the black door with the jalousie glass, beveled glass. That's where you enter in. And again, admission is free. You can just stop by and visit and talk to us. Many readers there. You can meet the owner herself, uh, Michelle Vidal. And so she just came out with a book as well. So if you want more information about Resident Essentials, all you got to do is go to https colon double forward slash www.resonantessentials.com. That's ResonantEssentials.com. And you can get more information just by going to the website. You can see, click on the link for practitioners. You can see all the practitioners. You can see products. She has her book there. I have my 6 books in there. We have another friend, Susan Zumo. She has a book in there on dreams. And you'll see a calendar spread right in front of you. You can check to see what's going on. Well, I'm signing off right now. I got some things to do. I want to get out and see some sunlight today before it rains. Thank you so much. I'm here every Thursday, normally at 1 p.m. or 1:30 p.m. Mountain Time. All right, now if you're in the area, you come to my meditation class. You have to arrive between 11:20 and 11:30. The door is open, but we lock the door at 11:35, so there's no disturbances, so you can experience these meditations I have for you. Well, everybody, it's time for me to go. My grace is your grace. Until next time, remember that divine grace is a blessing as we're alive and well in the age of remembrance. Take care and look forward to seeing you soon. Bye now.